go ahead and get started here. It's 1:02 now. It's 1:02 now. So hello, everybody. So my name is Ranger Eric, and I'm the program director for SEED. And sitting beside me is the prestigious Dr. Pat Wright with us, the lemur expert. And did you want to say a word?
I just think it's great that I'm here. I usually am in Madagascar this time of year, but I'm still with lemurs because they're right here with us today, and so I'm really happy. It's the first time I've seen a lemur in 5 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So this is really special for you.
It is. It's fantastic.
And really special for me too. And we're so thankful for our friends here at the Long Island Game Farm who are allowing us to broadcast live from the ringtail lemur pen. And hit me with a Latin name.
Lemurcata.
Ah, all right. So, and you might hear some sounds coming from these lemurs, and they're kind of going, wah, stuff like that, right? What's your, wah, wah. So hopefully they'll come. Hopefully
they sound
be
like kittens. Sometimes they purr, and sometimes they just kind of sigh, but they are vocalizing continually. So when they get back over here, we'll be able to hear them.
And so, so this is obviously, we've all come together for a fundraiser for Center Val Bio and also for SEED, because we are all hit very, in the stomach, I feel, by this pandemic. And it's put a lot of our education plans on hold until this is over. So we all need some help right now. And so thank you guys for joining to help us out. But we have another special introduction to make. SEED has just hired their third employee, and that's our executive director, and that's Sally Wellinger. Sally, if you'd like to come on.
Hey guys, I'm Sally Wellinger, and so excited to be a part of SEED. We've done a lot so far the past few years since we've started, and we have loads of dreams and adventures coming up in the future. And we're so excited to be here with you, Dr. Wright, and all of you out in at Center Val Bio in Madagascar. It's just a pleasure to be able to spend some time with all of you tonight.
So do I get to introduce the Malagasy?
You do.
Oh, that's fantastic. So one of the real advantages of Zoom is that we can go across countries, across oceans. We have these little lemurs with us today, but we also have the land of lemurs. And for the first time, these lemurs will be seeing what Madagascar is really like. Pascal Rabisson, our national director and expert in biology and ants, is on the other side of the world. It's winter there, and so they're just happy to be a little bit warm today. How is the weather over there in Madagascar, Pascal?
The weather is great. It's sunny. Of course, it's getting warmer, but it's wonderful. Stars on the sky, and it's wonderful. Yeah.
That's great. Now, how are the lemurs? I really miss them so much.
The lemurs are doing fine. Some of our technicians checked them, and they saw, some groups of black and white ruffed lemurs and brown lemurs. So it's so wonderful to see them, especially, during this a pandemic. It's good to see them well, healthy, and many different groups that they saw in the forest.
That's good, because the forest was closed, to everybody, even researchers, for a while when the pandemic first hit. And so this is one of the first times that we've actually had a chance to go into the forest and find out what was happening with the lemurs. And so that's good to hear, Pascal. That's great.
So I was just kind of wondering how you got involved with lemurs, because you kind of started from a different point in life, right? You were a social worker.
I was a social worker in Brooklyn.
Not a primatologist. You were a social worker.
No, I've been an undergraduate major in biology. I always loved animals. I just love animals, just being around them. And it was something that I didn't think could become a career. So it's been, and then suddenly this is a long time ago, and it was in New York during the 60s. And this is a lemur, it just come up to say hello. So it was during the 60s, and we actually went to a Jimi Hendrix concert, and across from Fillmore East was a pet store. A pet store. I walked into the pet store and fell in love with a primate. It wasn't a lemur, but it was a lot like a lemur.
Huh.
And that was a little interference from the lemur.
Yeah. We just had a close encounter with a lemur.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's how I really got started in primates.
So really, attending a Jimi Hendrix concert
Right.
changed the course of your life.
Indeed it did. And eventually I went to the Amazon, and I did a research in a small lemur-like animal called an owl monkey. And then after I did that first study, they told me I had to go to graduate school. And I thought, oh, no, I've already been working for a long time. Why should I go to graduate school? But I was convinced, because they said that nobody would take me seriously if I didn't have a degree, that people would just laugh at all my studies. And, I'd worked hard. I was the first person to ever study an owl monkey in the wild with jaguars and tarantulas and feral ants and things like that. So I thought, okay, I'll go to graduate school. I saw my first lemur. I hadn't even learned much about lemurs in graduate school in those days. But my first job was at the Duke Primate Center, the Duke Lemur Center. Oh. And I fell in love with these guys. They're absolutely beautiful. I mean, each one. And there's so many species. There's 110 different species of lemurs.
110.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And this lemur cata that we have around here, the ring-tailed lemurs, that's one of the most endangered.
Wow.
It's found in a very specific habitat in the southwest of Madagascar, what we call the spiny desert. And I think of them as really special lemurs because they live in a desert where there's very little water, and they can survive. And it gets cold there, it's sometimes frost on the ground. And then it gets hot there, sometimes it's over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So, they are extreme lemurs. And then they're doing great here, and they look really healthy and everything, but they're very adaptable, very flexible, very resilient, and smart and beautiful. They come in group size of about 25.
Wow.
Yeah.
And is this the species that's matriarchal or?
Oh yeah, female, all lemurs.
All lemurs?
Yes, females rule.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they call the shots. They're the ones that make the decisions, and the males just follow behind and do whatever they say. And it works out fine.
Well, there's a lot of truth to that in the human society too, I think. But and where was it? I think there was one of my favorite lemurs is the Indri.
Oh, beautiful.
And those calls that they make. If we try to do it here, do you think they would react to it?
I don't think so, because the Indri is found in the rainforest and they're found in the dry forest.
So they wouldn't wouldn't talk to each other.
I don't think so.
So
we could try.
Let's give it a try.
Oh, yeah.
All right, ready?
Yeah, I'd love to hear an Indri. It's like no other.
Or something, right?
It's a little better than that. I think you should try a little harder.
I gotta practice more.
I think so. No, Indians are like, they're almost like clarinets.
Mm.
And they call back and forth. And the calls are, like 5-10 minutes. They're really
Wow.
beautiful and just, like operatic.
Mm.
Fantastic. And they jump
Wow.
like, so here you have these opera singers with, like ballet dancing. It's just extraordinary to see.
Wow. And do they make that call just like in the morning, in the evening, or is it any time throughout the day?
They certainly make it all the calls, all the groups call to each other in the morning.
Okay.
They get up and they make this call, and it's male and female duets. So you have, it's like intricate call. It's not like just a little hoot or something. This is an intricate, beautiful song that they sing together, with the male singing the high parts and the female singing the low parts. Look at this, guys.
This is
Isn't
amazing.
it beautiful? And so, they are really extraordinary singers.
Wow.
Not all the lemurs can sing as well as the Indians. They are the stars as far as the songs go.
So, look, he's saying hello to you. That's so sweet.
Hello.
Oh, he knows he's in good company right here.
Lemurs are so beautiful.
So, I learned from the movie that lemur means wandering spirit. Is that wandering spirit? What does that mean?
Well, I think what it basically means, because they make these haunting calls, and you hear them in the midst of the rain. Really feel that it's like spiritual, and they're like ghosts almost. There in the forest, I heard them. Thought that they might look at their faces. They look just like us. They are our ancestors. And in Malagasy, of course, being an ancestor is a very prestigious name. So I was very pleased, and he said, no, I would never eat a lemur or hunt one.
Oh, good.
So that was nice.
Yeah, that was good to hear, right?
Yeah, it was good to hear.
Wow. So, do we have a question? Oh, where are we? Well, yeah, we're not in Madagascar, you guys. We are here in Manorville at the Long Island Game Farm. We have a question coming in New York, right?
And Indian States.
Because that's right. I got to say, because we got to think about everybody, and yeah, thanks for the question there, and I think we even have a Q&A. Great, thank you. All right, so this movie that we are talking about is called The Island of Lemurs, Madagascar, right?
Yes.
And that was a great movie. I've watched it several times.
I think you're there in Madagascar.
How did you guys film that first
Oh
off?
my goodness. Oh my goodness. You can imagine if lemurs suddenly need, if you're doing 3D IMAX, these huge cameras are brought near the lemurs. They're like, whoa. And sometimes they come up, but they did get used to it, and they were really kind of very interactive. And as you can tell from the lemur movie, the lemurs were very cooperative.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, we did a lot of special effects. I mean, some of those scenes, this was before drones. So some of these scenes are done from hot air balloons. A hot air balloon comes down, and you're a lemur. It's bigger than a hawk, and it's bigger than an eagle. And they were like, whoa, what is this? And they gave their alarm calls, but they gave their bird alarm calls. They recognized that it was up in the sky, and it must be some giant bird come to attack them.
Wow. So
Yeah.
they have different sounds for different predators.
Oh yeah,
and,
yeah. Each lemur species has about between 10 and 15 different calls, and they can distinguish the hawks and eagles, those predators, from the fossa. The fossa is the big carnivore that attacks lemurs,
oh wow.
and they're on the ground, or they can chase them in the trees, but they have a different call to warn all their group members about them.
Fascinating. And that's narrated by one of my favorite actors, Morgan Freeman.
Yep.
Did you get to meet him?
Of course I got to meet
Oh my
Morgan
God,
Freeman.
I'm so jealous.
Hey, he was amazing. We went to Hollywood for the grand opening, of course. And he came, of course, to the opening, and we walked down the red carpet together. And Morgan Freeman is really wonderful. I mean, he was so he knew we were biologists, and he was the one that had all the experience with Hollywood. So he said, just take your cues from me.
Nice.
He said, when I tell you to talk, you just go up there and you talk to the camera. And when I tell you it's enough, you just follow me off. And so we did, and we saw the press. I think it was 67 journalists that he had to talk to him, and I actually had 71.
Ooh, all right.
It was great fun. But he's an animal lover. He is into social justice and an amazing person. I'm really pleased to have known him. Also walking down the aisle with us were the Kratt brothers. I don't know. Do some of you know who the Kratt brothers are? They had that amazing show, Zubamafu.
Oh,
yeah, you have to be a certain
right.
age. But they had these puppets that were definitely lemurs, and they did many of their shows in Madagascar. Now they have a show called Wild Kratts. But they were just to show us solidarity, because the Kratt brothers were my students. Yeah, when I was a professor at Duke.
Oh my God.
And now I'm a professor at Stony Brook University, so that's why I'm here on Long Island for the fall semester. So the Kratt brothers walked down the aisle with us. But we've done a lot of shows besides this one. And one of them was Planets Unknown, Parts Unknown, with Anthony Bourdain.
Oh.
And Anthony Bourdain came to Madagascar.
You got to meet Anthony Bourdain.
Oh, yes. We spent 3 or 4 days with him as we were filming that episode.
Oh, how special.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was really amazing.
That was such a terrible loss.
Yes.
And look who's joining us now.
Yeah.
And what would you like to say?
This is a beautiful
He's making
animal.
a cooing sound, a little, oh. All right, and off he goes. Yep. And,
these are really well-kept animals. They're
Yeah.
very. It's a male and female lemur cata.
They do.
They're really nice.
They really do an amazing job here with their animals, and I know from personal experience that even during this pandemic they also had to shut down, but they came every day taking care of their animals. They made sure these animals were fed before they ate themselves. So just amazing care here. So we really thank the Long Island Game Farm for everything they're doing. Something you may not know, I don't know if you remember, but I was in the Peace Corps, and I was put in the Kingdom of Tonga, out in the middle of the South Pacific.
Oh.
It's an island nation, and everything, all at least the animals that are there, were mostly birds that could fly in and reptiles that would raft in. But in the beginning of the movie, I was noticing that they think lemurs also got to Madagascar by rafting over, and it seems like a tremendous distance for a mammal.
It really is. So really what happened is about 130 million years ago, a big chunk of Africa, Madagascar is close to Africa, a big chunk of Africa just drifted off into the Indian Ocean. And then about 80 million years ago, there were some giant volcanoes. And a part of the big chunk that was Madagascar then drifted off to the north from Madagascar and was India.
And that chunk was India.
It became India when it hit the Asian shore. And the actual lemurs probably came over on a raft about 60 million years ago. And we only know that. We only know that from the genetic data. You know, now that we have incredible tools like the genetics, we can tell a lot more about the history of animals than we could before, because there's no fossil record in Madagascar. No, nobody's really found fossils from those early days.
Wow.
So we can only tell from the genetics. And the fact that lemurs arrived first is really important, because lemurs got there, and we all know that there was an asteroid that kind of
what was that, about
was that
65
million
years ago, right?
And so the lemurs must have arrived after that. And when they got there, there weren't any other animals there. And so they just kind of diversified into all these different niches, which means that they have their very special diets. And like some of the lemurs only eat bamboo. And some of the lemurs only eat certain kinds of fruits. They're very, very specialized. And these lemur cata, of course, are very specialized to live in this desert area, the spiny desert, which is also nice. So they're ancient. They're our oldest primate relatives, you know.
No, they're our oldest. Wow.
Yeah, that's true. So it's it's important that we treat them with respect.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm toying with one over here, trying to get him to come up here and eat their bamboo. So
he doesn't know that this species doesn't eat bamboo.
Oh, he doesn't?
It's the other species.
Oh, you're not supposed to eat bamboo, you silly. You silly. Come on.
You know, I discovered a.
I did that. Yes, that's in the book as well, and how exciting! It's also in the movie, I think.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Because that's when I.
So you went to Madagascar now to
look for
to prove the existence of, right?
Yeah, we thought there was an animal that was in the fossils, the recent fossils, but had never been seen alive for 50 years. So my first trip to Madagascar was to try to find and discover that species, to find out whether it was extinct or not. And in the process, I discovered a new species to science. And that's pretty amazing. And it was such a surprise. And it's a beautiful animal. It's golden colored. There aren't any in the States, so our stateside visitors can not see it unless you come to Madagascar. And Madagascar will open up again. We will be able to go back to Madagascar sometime. So just think about next year, because it's an amazing place. And so, I discovered this new species of lemur, and just as I rediscovered the other species, and then there were other new species of lemurs that I'd never seen before. And it was very exciting, research scientist, I'm taking notes on what's going on with all these lemurs. And then suddenly the timber exploiters came in. The loggers came in and started, 100 local people came in with axes and started to chop down the trees.
Wow.
I got very upset and I started to yell at them, but that wasn't really where the problem was. So I went to the capital and I talked to the head of Water and Forest and told them, you've got to protect this area because there's beautiful lemurs and new species to science and rediscovered lemurs. You really got to go. We really got to protect it, make it a national park. And he looked at me and he said, Madam Patricia, we're in Madagascar. We don't have enough money to make a park. And you've got to make the mapping, you've got to train rangers, you've got to put in an infrastructure. They are eating the bamboo. We just don't have that kind of money. But he said, and he looked into my eyes and he said, but if you can find the money to make that national park, we'll do everything we can to help you. And then
That's
he
amazing.
ushered me out of his office, and I stood there, an assistant professor. I was thinking about tenure, realizing that my career would be ruined if I did this, and then realizing that these incredible lemurs would go extinct if I didn't do something. And I couldn't have that on my shoulders. I couldn't. I had to.
You had to do something.
I had to. So we got that $3.87 million from USAID. When that wasn't enough, so we got some money from the Liz Claiborne and
Wow.
our Ortenberg organization. We got some money from World Wildlife Fund. We got some money from MacArthur, and that was and we made a national park. Yep. And May
Fantastic.
31st, 1991, we inaugurated Ronimafan National Park. We saved all those lemurs, and you can go there today and see them. They're beautiful.
That is
the
amazing.
new species, the one brought back from extinction, and all the others. So I hope that you all can visit next year. Right now we have problems because the international airports closed.
Mm-hmm.
There's the lemur right up front and close to you.
Is this where they got the name Mafu?
Yeah.
Lemurs on Zoom.
Yeah, that's what we've got.
Sorry, you guys got a side view. You got a very close-up look there at the pelage of a
He's
ringtail
looking right
lemur.
at you. Yeah.
He's watching you guys. Oh, that's so special. That's his ear.
That's wonderful.
Oh my goodness. These guys are so wonderful. Well, how exciting is that? That's and maybe a rare thing is the two of us sitting together, we have both designated a national park.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah. So mine was in the Kingdom of Tonga,
Oh, wow.
but I didn't have to fundraise. I didn't have to do any of the hard work because the country wanted it. And they put me in charge.
Money?
And they had the money and the will.
Okay.
And they put me in charge of figuring it out and how to do it.
Yeah,
and,
it's not easy to make a national park when you've
just-
never done it before.
Right, you've never done it before because they understood that that we are losing our forests and our seas were getting overfished, and they designated another Peace Corps volunteer before me had designated a marine park, and then they saw how positive an effect it was on their environment, that if you just keep a spot pristine and not fished, it helps to repopulate everything else. And so when by the time I came, they had the concept, but they didn't have a national park on land. So I was to designate, part of my mission was to designate and figure out where to place it, how to do it, and how to convince all the locals not to go into the national park to harvest timber and stuff like that. So I too had to go meet with all the village elders and
Yeah, it's very important that you get the buy-in from the community.
that's right.
And this was a long time ago in 1991, and getting the buy-in from the community was sort of a new idea, because before that people just put up fences and got out guns and said nobody can go in. And then of course national parks are big, and people go in at night and they poach and everything, because then the park becomes the enemy. But we didn't want that. We wanted the park to be their park. And in order to do that, you've got to give them some reason to appreciate that park. And I told them about tourism. I told them that tourists will come to see those lemurs, and they laughed at me. They thought I was crazy.
Oh, people want to see them.
Yeah, but they hadn't had no visitors from the outside for 10 years. The country had been closed down because of political issues. And so they laughed at me. But last year, they had like 45,000 people at Ronimafan National Park. And of course, all those people not only pay fees to get into the park, but they also stay at hotels, they eat in restaurants. And the place was getting quite prosperous because of the park. It was great.
Right.
And I was thinking to myself, wow, this has really worked. Because when I told them in 1990, I was just hoping, right? And then of course, COVID-19 came. And it's been tragic, because March 20th was the last plane to leave Madagascar. I was on it.
Wow.
No planes going in. All those tourists no longer to give the entrance fees. All those tourists no longer to stay at the hotels and the restaurants. And research scientists can't come in. Now, everything that generated funding for this extraordinary project, where we worked in the villages of reforestation, and we had a health team. We have an education team working with the
right.
remote villages. It was really great. So what we're trying to do is get through this tough time. All of us all over the world are trying to get through this tough time when COVID-19 has thrown us for a loop. So that's one of the reasons we're having this fundraiser.
That's right.
Because it's so important that people just pitch in and help. We don't need money all the time. We just need it now.
Right.
If we can get through this next 6 months, I think everything will be returning to normal. And the same thing for the game farm, because this is a beautiful place, but people can't come in the same way that they could before. Which is starting to come back now.
Right.
So we live in difficult times, and we do everything that we can. I love the sounds of these lemurs.
This is great.
To make things sustainable, to keep things going. We've gone through things like cyclones before, and we've gone through political turmoil, but nothing's lasted so long. It's been 5 months since I went to Madagascar. It's been 5 months since anybody
has
from
been.
the outside world that brings in so much money.
Oh, we don't even know how much longer we need to hold out.
No, we don't.
And that's what's so scary about this. And yet, the local Malagasys, right? They're there. They're
right.
still working. They're still planting trees to repopulate the rainforest.
That's right. They're still checking on those lemurs.
Still checking on them.
And they're doing everything they can. But we have to keep up. We have 130 people that we have to pay salaries for to keep this going.
Yep.
So it's a beautiful research station. It's an extraordinary place, and we have all these people that are working in villages on health, education, environmental arts, all these things, and we need to keep them going till we can get back. So.
And honestly, Seed is in a similar situation. So, our main income are schools. And all of our school programs got shut down just at the beginning of our busy season. And that supports our staff as well. Obviously, we're not maintaining endangered species, but still we have
it's all connected.
It's all connected. And we have a strong, our education roots, you might say, are all intertwined, and all of our roles are important. And we have a lot of support from our local community here, but in our friends in Madagascar, that's just such a big community, and we need everyone from that village to help out and make it, it takes a village, right? And so we need everybody to help out and keep us all afloat here. So
I think, in my class, I used to teach about the fact that there would be global pandemics in the future. But, I thought in the future was, like in 2050. I really didn't think that this pandemic would occur so soon. And I didn't think that this pandemic would affect the whole world and the whole world's economy so severely. And we should keep in mind that these pandemics, both the SARS that started and the MERS that started, are because of wildlife trade.
Right.
And
our relationship with planet Earth is way out of balance.
Yep. And we have to really take a look at some of the things that are resulting in this imbalance. Wildlife trade are the markets where the wildlife are sold, and where this terrible disease in China and it started. And so I think we've learned a lot of lessons, and we've learned that we can communicate together even when we're not together, and those are good things. But we've also, lemurs are beautiful. That we do have to keep things going for this interim time. We have to have a bridge. a bridge so that when we come out of this, we'll be able to succeed again. And if things go under, that's not good. So that's why we're having this fundraiser.
Right.
We're having the
Going under is not an option.
No. We're not.
We've done way too much work on everything we've built.
Yeah. So we need to save these lemurs, and we need to save the education programs that are teaching our kids about animals and wildlife habitat, not in all over the world.
So one thing that I've, one of my takeaways, I guess, from this, from the COVID-19 shutdown, is that the outdoors has always been kind of a, I don't know, like, ooh, it's buggy, it's icky, and stuff like that out there. But now, after the pandemic, people are like valuing nature and the outdoors. That's now been the place where people go for refuge and for solitude and for their own, mental health. And I see kind of a value of nature happening, a change in people's thoughts about nature. And like you said, I'm hoping that we come out of this pandemic a changed people, that we start
in a positive
way, and we start evaluating our relationship with nature is out of balance, out of whack, and we really need to, right now, I don't think as a whole, I don't think we deserve planet Earth right now. It's we need to start valuing it and taking care of it and be real stewards of the planet. And I'm hoping that we kind of come around with our little pause here. So what was the species of lemur that you discovered?
The golden bamboo lemur, Haplomir aureus.
Mm.
And I called it the golden bamboo lemur because if you discover a species and you describe it, you get to name it. Mm. You can't name it after yourself. That you can't name it. So I called it the golden lemur because of the value of gold and the value of having this extraordinarily beautiful, critically endangered animal on this earth. And we're doing a lot of research at Stony Brook University, where I'm a professor. I have lots of graduate students and fellow colleagues who work on particular issues that'll help our humankind in the future. And what we've been doing is we've been studying this golden bamboo lemur because it has a trick that it can do that humans can't do.
Oh.
What it does is it can eat bamboo, but the kind of bamboo in Madagascar that they eat is filled with cyanide. Now, cyanide is a poison. It's a toxin. And they eat the shoots of this cyanide-filled bamboo all day long, so that they eat like enough cyanide. A little animal eats enough cyanide to kill a human 50 times over every day.
Wow.
So they can detoxify. They're resistant to this toxin. How do they do it? Right. It's important to know how they do it. So several of my graduate students are studying that. So lemurs, because of their ancient heritage, they have many things that they can teach us from their physiology and from the way that they digest things and how they can interact with poisons that I think will be good clues into how we can help people.
That's amazing.
So we can't let them go extinct. They're critically endangered.
Right.
And we got to keep them in in their natural habitat.
So some would say, these seem to be doing well in zoos and things like that. How can they be critically endangered if we can set up breeding programs and things like that?
Well, in Madagascar, of course, 90% of the natural habitat has been destroyed.
How much?
90%, almost all of it. It's a big island. It's an island that actually, if you put it next to the United States, it would go from Maine all the way down to Florida. It's a big island. Wow. But still, the forests that are left are extraordinary, but we have to grow them out. I think what we should be doing is working with the villagers to plant endemic species of trees. This is what we're doing. Work with them to plant endemic species of trees and then plant a kind of crop that will give the value back to the villagers, and that's vanilla. Have you purchased Malagasy vanilla lately? Really expensive.
Oh, wow.
And so it's a high value crop. So the Malagasy can sell it and make money off of it. It grows best on endemic species. Endemic means native species of trees. So if we
Wow.
plan out all that barren wasteland, what's been burned, if we plant that out, replant it, put on vanilla, we found a brand new species of pepper.
Wow.
Yeah, it's the highest quality pepper that has been seen anywhere in the world.
Wow.
And that grows on trees. It's on vines.
Yeah, it's vines, yeah.
And then the lemurs can come in and they can enjoy the forest. They can eat the fruits of the trees. And the people can harvest the pepper and the vanilla and cinnamon and all these great spices. So I'm planting trees with trees that the lemurs can eat will bring back the biodiversity and be such a value to the local people that they can make their way out of poverty. So that's what I've been doing. I believe that we've really got to take an offensive approach to Madagascar. I mean, it's a beautiful country. It has incredible wildlife and wonderful people.
And that's great that you guys have a vision of how to bring prosperity to that area using the positive side of, you know, preserving our forests and preserving our lemurs and really just, you know, showing people that by treasuring and valuing your wildlife and your natural surroundings brings revenue and prosperity for everyone.
But I want to give credit to the local Malagasy, like our staff are incredibly hardworking and skilled, and they're working very hard with the local communities, and the local communities are trusting us because we've been there a long time now, almost 30 years. You know, it's not just one thing or another thing, it's everything integrated and working together.
That's incredible.
It's a lot of hard
put in
work.
so much work with so many people. And we really thank everybody in Madagascar that's with us today. Thank you so much. Pascal, did you want to say any words, or I'm putting you on the spot? I don't know. I just wanted to give you the opportunity.
Okay. I would like to thank CED and Sally, Eric, Dr. Wright, and Pat Paladines for organizing this meeting for the fundraising. To tell you the truth, you know, with the pandemic now, for Central Val Bio, like from November, probably we won't have salaries, as you know, for 130 staff here. It's because of the pandemic, because no researchers come, no, you know, the program and project stopped, and we don't even know how long it's gonna be, whether it will be like next year or when it will, you know, the air of Madagascar will be open. And so and these villagers, the technicians who work for Central Val Bio, they are from the villages in the peripheral zone of the park. And so you can imagine they do the monitoring, follow up the lemurs once a month. But when they are not able to do that, then they will stop, and poachers can take advantage of that. And so we really appreciate the organization of this meeting for fundraising, since you know, Madagascar now it's locked down for 5 months, and so this is really, you know, like probably every dollar counts to help and save these lemurs. So again, thank you so much for helping us, helping to save the lemurs. Thank you.
Thank you. And we're trying. That's why we're doing this. We're trying to keep you guys going and also helping seed out as well. So, so Pascal, you'll have to tell everybody we said, hang in there.
We'll do our best.
Keep fighting, right?
So when the biodiversity techs went out into the forest last week to look for the lemurs and make sure they were okay, they found one of the lemurs who was tan red, who we captured in the year 2000, and she was 3 months old.
Wow.
Just a little tiny fluffy lemur. It was just amazing, 3 months old.
Oh.
And now she's the leader of her group. She's had 3 offspring, and she's doing fine. So when I heard that Tan Red was doing fine, it just made me smile.
Oh my
It's
God.
great.
You must know like so many of them just individually, you know.
Oh yeah.
You can't wait to get back and
I know,
see
I
your
wanna
Malagasy
them.
family and also your lemur families.
Yes. We're waiting. We were in the midst of building a new education building. And of course, everything has had to stop.
Right.
So there's so many things that are just kind of put on hold that
Absolutely.
we need to do. And it's really hard. But hopefully this everything. Well, how is the COVID-19 in Madagascar itself? I know the president closed off the country because he thought that this was the best tactic to keep the COVID-19 at bay. So far, if I understand, Pascal, that it hasn't reached the national park yet. So that's a really good thing. And that the virus itself is contained in the capital, Tana and Tamatave
Yes.
and Majunga, the big city.
Yeah, right now it's still Tana is the epicenter, and of course here down in Ranmafan, in the national park, it didn't reach here yet, and so far it's getting the number of new confirmed cases is getting down, but hopefully we are able to do more, like more tests, so it would show that more of the people, the healed patients, are I think, if I remember, it's now like 13,000 out of the confirmed cases. In total is like 53,000. So it's getting better. We hope this coming Sunday, the president will announce new measures. But of course, we have to be really careful, still keeping all the gesture barriers. So that's what I think, because at the same time, you know, the people, because of the lockdown, people cannot go out working, getting food, and so that's a challenge for the government also, to keep people staying at home, but at the same time, the economy should start also. And so that's, but from the statistics, it's getting better now. I think so far the death is 177 total. And like 2 days ago, there was no death for 24 hours. So it's you know, the death is like for 24 hours. I would say like the mean is like maybe 4 or 4 death for 24 hours. So it's not bad, but still we have to be careful.
Okay, thank you for that update on what's going on in Madagascar. And so, our big fear is that if it continues to go like this, where people can't go to work, the parks are closed, there's no income coming in from the outside, that of course people who have to eat will resort to going into the forest and eating lemurs and chopping down trees. So we're always worried about that. That's why we have to keep our salaries going and our people going out to protect these wonderful lemurs.
Exactly. And so if somebody here wanted to donate more than their ticket price, where would they go?
Okay, it's centralvalbio.org. That Centerville Bio is the name of our research station. CENTRVALBIO@.org. And those that would like to make any extra donation to Seed, you can always go to CEEDLI.org, seedli.org, and yeah, it's just we all would love your help, and I'm just laughing because he's up on the like a perfect shot up there, maybe over your shoulder you could see him, but oh, you can see him right, yeah. I can see him.
So that's really how you can help out. Also, I highly recommend you guys check out the video on Amazon Prime, I think is where I found it. And that's the Island of Lemurs, Madagascar. And of course, if you haven't already, you should have a copy of Pat's book, For the Love of Lemurs. I love the title. And so we just have, I think we're just about out of time here. So is there anything else you wanted to mention or say?
I just want to thank you all for participating in this lemur show here, and I want to thank the lemurs for their great performance, and I want to thank you for donating by attending, and I want to thank you if you can give extra to us in Madagascar and to Seed. Every little bit helps.
And also I want to thank you for coming and being willing to do this. You are never here in August, so
this is the first time I've been in Long Island in August since for 25 years.
25, wow. Well, thanks for spending today with us so we could do this fundraiser. And really, we wouldn't have been able to be in here without support of the Long Island Game Farm. And so we really thank them. And they are also hurting in the pandemic. They are now back open. So if you really want to support the Long Island Game Farm, please come and tour through. Come check out these lemurs for yourselves. And that's supporting the game farm as well. So you can see what beautiful animals they are, how healthy they are. They're really well kept and cared for and socialized. And these people give their heart and soul for these animals to be well kept and as it should be, right? So, well, that's all the time we have today. It was really great seeing. Well, we can't. We were doing fist bumping now, and it was great having you. And we may have to do this again. I don't know. Let's try to do another fundraiser or something.
That would be great.
So this is really special. I appreciate it.
And thank Pascal and our audience in Madagascar. It's really great to be able to connect with you. And you can see some of our American lemurs.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Pascal, for joining in. I really appreciate it. So, all right. And so thank you guys so much. Keep in touch. As I always like to say, be kind to animals and each other. So peace and love to you guys. Be well. Thank you.